Welcome to the Writer's Encyclopedia channel, your indispensable resource library to master the art of writing. In today's video, I'll share some essential tips for creating rich subplots that will make your story irresistible. So if you want to learn how to enrich your plot and keep your readers hooked until the end, keep watching. Tip 1. Not everyone needs to love the protagonist. To start, remember that no one is universally loved. The same goes for your protagonist. A more complex and realistic character will attract criticism, distrust, and maybe even a few enemies. This opposition adds layers of authenticity to the plot and allows for the exploration of both internal and external conflicts. Think about it. If all the characters around the protagonist always support them, the story can end up feeling shallow and predictable. Add characters who challenge their choices, question their actions, or even pull them away from their main goal. This diversity of relationships brings authenticity and increases readers' engagement with the plot. Tip 2. Characters with interests outside the main plot. A great tip for giving more depth to characters is to create interests and connections outside the main storyline. This makes them feel more like real people, which helps readers connect with them. Imagine a protagonist who, aside from fighting a major villain, has a secret hobby, a group of friends, or a social cause they care about. These details can be used to create fascinating subplots that show different sides of the character, increasing their complexity and realism. You can even use them as hooks to develop conflicts or challenges that complement the main narrative. Tip 3. Different points of view to enrich the narrative. Subplots work very well when you experiment with multiple points of view. With different characters narrating, you can explore other perceptions of the story, making the plot even more engaging. The key here is to know how to differentiate each voice. Think carefully about how these points of view will influence the reader. Does everyone have incomplete information, or do some characters know things others don't? This can increase tension and make the reader even more intrigued. But be careful not to confuse the reader. Use point of view changes in an organized way, such as with dedicated chapters or clear scenes, to maintain reading flow. Tip 4. Realism for complex characters. Even if your protagonist is on an epic adventure or saving the world, never forget to give them an ordinary life that connects them to reality. Adding mundane details like responsibilities, financial challenges, or a complicated relationship can make the character more relatable to the reader. This layer of realism is an important ingredient in successful stories. This touch of humanity reminds us that even though the character lives great adventures, they still have to deal with the less glamorous side of life, which creates a powerful emotional connection. Tip 5. Antagonists and their conflicts. When it comes to subplots, think of different types of antagonists, not just the main villain. Each antagonist can represent a different conflict, whether emotional, ethical, or physical. And not every antagonist needs to be defeated. Some conflicts can remain unresolved, creating a sense of mystery and a touch of reality. Antagonists who survive or escape can pave the way for sequels and keep the story alive in the reader's mind even after the book ends. Tip 6. The importance of cohesion. Everything needs to connect. Last but not least, make sure all subplots and characters connect at the end of the story. Each subplot should add something to the main plot, whether it's resolving a conflict or contributing to character growth. Ideally, when the reader reaches the end, they should see how each detail was part of a larger web that gives meaning to the plot. This also prevents your story from feeling scattered and helps create a cohesive, well-structured narrative. Did you enjoy these tips for creating subplots and enriching your story? Remember, a good story is like a puzzle where every piece has its place. If these tips helped you, leave a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any content, and share it with other writers you know. See you next time.